Hi there, my name is Sarah, and welcome to Everyday Consent. You may be sitting there wondering, what is this channel, Sarah, and why are you doing it? Well, I think that in the past couple of years, the topics of sexual consent and communication and rape culture are ones that have been much more on the tongues and minds of people in general, and in particular those that I am closest to, than it really ever has been before. And I think that's a really good thing, and I'm glad that it's happening. It's also something that I personally, again mostly within the past couple of years, have devoted a lot of time and effort into thinking through, discussing with friends, and processing both on my own and with those close to me. Something I've noticed, however, is that while I think that there's been a lot of really great discussion breaking down assumptions and establishing and reinforcing that consent is ridiculously important and traditionally undervalued to say the least, and that there is a large and urgent need for us as a society to recognize that and work very hard to fix it, I've seen unsatisfyingly little discussion on how individuals can make concrete changes within their own lives. Put another way, there's been a lot of great discussion on the why of consent, but I think there needs to be a lot more on the how. So what exactly do I mean by that? I think that there are a lot of people, myself included, who are totally on board with the idea that we are steeped in a rape culture to a very deep and unacceptable degree, and that now very clearly understand that consent is absolutely necessary for any sexual activity, but that still grew up in that rape culture. And have inescapably internalized some of those messages that we've been bombarded with from day one of sexual shame, entitlement, objectification, and violence. And the simple truth is that it takes more than goodwill, and it takes more than an understanding of the problem. It takes a lot of time and effort to undo all of that programming. And even if that were true, trying to understand your own mind, body, and emotions, trying to communicate that to someone else, and trying to pick up on all of that in another person is kind of difficult. It's not something that we're born knowing how to do perfectly. It takes time and it takes effort. In short, it's hard. And I might be wrong, but something that I think I've noticed is an unwillingness and a fear even, and I mean in myself too, to admit that and to discuss it. And that's not entirely unsurprising. The more we understand how important consent is, the more frightening it can be to admit that we might not be perfect at it, that we might make mistakes, or worse, that we already have. That is really scary, and it should be really scary, because those mistakes can and do cause real people real harm, and can possibly cause very real emotional traumas. But like I said, it's not something that we're born knowing how to do. It's a skill. It's a learned skill. And like any other learned skill, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and we're going to make mistakes. But the way to improve is not to pretend that those mistakes don't happen, it's to discuss those mistakes, to learn from them, and to do our best to continue improving. So that's why I made this channel. I think that there needs to be a space for us to discuss the nitty-gritty details and nuances of sexual communication and sexual consent, and to share our experiences and struggles therein. I'm not yet convinced that YouTube is the perfect medium for this, but it's the one that I'm going to begin with. As far as the format, I'm sure as soon as I choose something I'll change it, but for now what I'm thinking is, 1, I'll try to put up a new video every Sunday. I know it's called Everyday Consent, but I work, so weekly consent will have to do for now. 2, I'm gonna find and share as many specific, practical exercises and suggestions as possible. And 3, what probably a lot of these videos will be, is me sharing my own experiences and thoughts on a given topic. Now of course, that'll be a lot of me talking to you, but I would really love for this to be collaborative. So as much as you feel comfortable, please engage with me and each other in the comments below. And for any comments or suggestions that you maybe don't feel comfortable sharing publicly, you can always email me at everydayconsent@gmail.com. I also created a Tumblr and a Twitter for this channel. I'm a little bit new to it, but the information for those will be in the description below. Also, it may not have escaped your notice that I am a white, able-bodied, college-educated, mostly straight, cis woman, so my experiences will not represent those of everyone, and my voice is by far not the only one that should be heard on these topics. So I very much want to encourage you to share your own perspectives, and please do call me out if I say anything completely ignorant, or any other constructive criticisms that you may have. Also, I hope to eventually have some guests come on and share their own stories and perspectives, so if that's something that you think you might want to do, please let me know. So that's my plan for the channel. I think this is something that will be pretty helpful for me, and I suspect that I'm not the only one out there who will get some value out of this. Hopefully that's true. If you think this is something you'll be interested in, click here to subscribe and hit like below. So yeah, let's all try to become better people together. As a society. Society. Mind, body, and mission. If you want to see more of my pretty face,